Well, hi everyone. I'm Gwen Volan with the Volan Group based in Ponte Vedra Beach, which is part of the Jacksonville, Florida area. And I'm recording this in a hotel room because I am up with my son's college orientation. So different background than usual. Anyway, I'm going to take a pause from my monthly report and I wanted to look at quarterly what's going on in the Northeast Florida beaches market. Something that I plan to do each quarter just to give sort of a recap over all the different areas. So today I'm going to be covering Ponte Vedra Beach, Nocatee, Jacksonville Beach, Atlantic Beach, and Neptune Beach. But before we dive in, just know that if you're thinking of buying or selling anywhere along the Northeast Florida coast, my team would love to help. You can call or text me at 904-822-9255. That will come directly to me. Or you can visit our website at elevateinpontevedra.com, and there are plenty of links on there to book an appointment. So feel free to reach out. So I'm going to click my slides here. Okay. So the biggest surprise this quarter was not home prices. It's not inventory. It's not mortgage rates. It was really just how quickly buyers came back into the market after a little quiet time last year. Even in through Q1, people are out. So that's really the story that ties this entire report together. So if I had to summarize the quarter in one sentence, it would be this. The market didn't slow, it normalized. Buyers adjusted to interest rates, inventory became healthier, and homes across the beaches started selling much faster than they were just a few months ago. Three things really stand out to me. First, buyers came out in a big way, with days to contract dropping into the mid 20-day range across most of the beach communities. Second, luxury prices continued to climb, especially in Ponte Vedra Beach and in Atlantic Beach. And then third, inventory was settled into what I'd consider a healthier range of roughly 3 to 4 months of supply, which is giving buyers more choices without putting any significant down pressure on prices. So this slide's important, and I want to say there's an important distinction here. If you only watch national housing news, you might think every market is slowing, but local markets like ours don't always follow national trends. So here at the beach, buyers are there. The luxury market it's resilient, and the pace of sales have picked up. So don't always follow the national news. One thing I always remind people is that there isn't just one beach market. So look at the data here. Every community really behaves differently. Jacksonville Beach is different than Ponte Vedra Beach, Atlantic Beach, Neptune, or Nocatee. They really all have their own dynamics. And that's what I would say a local expert is needed for, rather than just looking at national trends. So before we dive into each community, here are the 5 themes that define the quarter. So buyers are back. Luxury continues to outperform, inventory is healthier, and pricing matters more than ever. Yeah, this isn't a market where everyone just makes up a dream price, so it's being strategic and thinking through the whole picture. And obviously, every community has its own story and its own set of metrics to look at. So I've put together what I'm calling the coastal market scorecard. It's simply my overall assessment of each community based on the pricing strength, the buyer demand, inventory, and how quickly homes are selling. It's not finding a winner. It's just about understanding where each market stands today. And I will tell you, if I had taken this report card home in high school, I would have made lots of dollars and gotten lots of treats, because I think that's a pretty good report card. So let's look at Ponte Vedra Beach, because it's still, I would say, the benchmark for luxury living in Northeast Florida. One thing that really stands out this quarter is that luxury demand, well, it never really disappeared. And while much of the country has been talking about higher mortgage rates, slowing the market, or, Ponte Vedra continues to attract a different type of buyer. Many of these buyers are relocating from higher price markets, so they're bringing a lot of equity, and often they're purchasing with cash. So they're making lifestyle decisions first and then financial decisions second. So the median sales price in Q2 climbed to just over 1.36, up 13.6% from a year ago, and homes are still going under contract in about 27 days. So that's a strong combination of appreciation and buyer demand. And I just want to make it clear, when I say they've gone under contract, they haven't closed. Homes are not closing in 27 days, but the average days to get a contract is about 27. And of course, that's the average, plenty of sway in either direction. So my advice to sellers in Ponte Vedra is that this is an excellent market. Buyers do still expect value, and aspirational pricing isn't advised. For buyers, waiting for a major correction in Ponte Vedra Beach is probably not going to be your best strategy. Though inventory has improved, demand remains pretty healthy for quality homes. So just take that. One number I really like to point out is that the listed sale ratio, which is 96.8%. That tells us sellers are still receiving very close to their asking prices when their home's been positioned correctly. And I think that's an important distinction. This isn't a market where sellers, as I said before, can just name any price, but it is a market where thoughtful pricing and strong marketing and planning are rewarded. So next, we're going to talk about Nocatee. I think Nocatee is probably the most misunderstood market in this report. If you only looked at the median price, you'd probably conclude that nothing much happened this quarter, but I think that's kind of missing the story here. The bigger story is how much faster buyers are actually making decisions. So days to contract dropped from 58 days last year to just 39 days this year, which is a dramatic improvement. And I'd say a clear sign that confidence has returned to Nocatee, which has had a little bit of a harder time the last year and a half. And, Nocatee also recorded 96 closed sales in June, which is the highest of any market in this. Buyers still have more choice than they might in Ponte Vedra Beach, but this is creating a balanced environment. So for buyers in Nocatee continues to offer great value in inventory. And for sellers, the pace has picked up. Presentation and pricing still matter. I'm just going to drop in here also, pools do matter. It's an interesting quagmire if there isn't a pool. So that's an anecdotal comment, by the way, not a data comment. So Jacksonville Beach was probably the biggest surprise for me this quarter. Homes are going under contract in just 24 and a half days, making it the fastest moving market among the 5 areas that we're looking at. I think there are a few reasons for that. First, Jacksonville Beach offers a really amazing lifestyle with, walkability. Their restaurants, the ocean is right there, and it's a vibrant community. Second, compared to Ponte Vedra Beach or Atlantic Beach, it's still more attainable. It's a more attainable entry price point for beach living. So inventory remains tight. It's about 3 months of supply, which tells us the demand is still very healthy. If someone asked me where buyers are moving quickly today, Jacksonville Beach would definitely be near the top of my list. If you're wanting to hop in, that's where a lot of buyers, young buyers, people wanting beach are going. So Atlantic Beach it's always been a unique market because there really just aren't that many homes available. So when supply is limited and buyers compete for a small number of properties, prices tend to remain strong. And this quarter really reinforces that. I will pause and say, Atlantic Beach had kind of a meh year last year, and I think there was a big run up in 24. Things stabilized, and now it's going right back up. So median sale price increased over 20% year over year, and the average sold price reached an impressive $550 per square foot, which is the highest of all these reports. So, it's not a high volume market, but when an exceptional home comes on the market, buyers clearly are willing to pay a premium. And you will see competition. You will see multiple offer situations. If there's something on a very particular special street that's, walking distance to the beach, it will go. And I also just want to say here, when I'm looking at Atlantic Beach, I'm only including north and south. So I'm not going over towards Mayport. Not that I don't love Mayport, but I'm looking specifically at the very coastal side of Atlantic Beach. And that goes for Ponte Vedra Beach. I am excluding South Ponte Vedra because really it's its own community. I didn't pull that in because there really just isn't enough sales data to make it an interesting point. But anyway, scarcity for Atlantic Beach will continue, which is going to be one of the big drivers of the market moving forward. All right, Neptune Beach. Okay, so this is a perfect example of why statistics always need context. So at first glance, you see 31% decline in median price, and it sounds terrible, but that's not what's happened. Neptune, if I say Atlantic Beach is small, Neptune is teeny tiny. So it's a very small market with relatively few sales each month. So, if one month a handful of luxury homes on the ocean, sells, and then, in another month, more modest inland homes, which by modest inland homes, that would just mean west of A1A, you're going to see a dramatic swing. So for Q2, not at all worried, because that's exactly what we're seeing here, is we're seeing the two extremes of the market there. In fact, sellers are still receiving 97.5% of their asking price, and they're selling at a healthy pace. So my takeaway isn't that Neptune has weakened. It's simply that this is a market where you have to look beyond one headline and evaluate the full picture. So this slide really just kind of sums up each of the areas that I've been talking about for Q2 and why they get the certain grades that they do. It's like your teacher comments, and these are my teacher comments for the particular markets. All right, so for buyers, it is get organized. If you're going on a buying trip, do come prepared with a pre-approval letter, pre-qual letter, prefer pre-approval. If you're paying cash, do have some sort of statement that is a proof of funds. Always understand the communities you're looking at online and talk to someone local to really help you understand the big picture, because again, things are different in every part of our area, every part of the US. And if you find something that you like, don't lollygag. Chances are, if you like the house and it's in some of these markets, it's going to be liked by other people too. So those are my tips. For sellers, pricing is incredibly important. Buyers are active. They are more selective though. And, I think that homes that are priced correctly and presented beautifully and in a well-prepared state, they're going to generate strong interest. It is definitely a mix of things: price, presentation, area, all of those particular points. So these are probably the three questions I'm asked more than any. So should I wait? Are prices falling? Can buyers negotiate? The answer, if you haven't figured it out from the beginning, to all three really depends on the specific market and not the national headlines. So key takeaways, if you remember nothing from this report, just remember these four things. The market normalized in Q2. Luxury remains strong. Jax Beach is moving incredibly quickly, and every beach community has its own story. So, opportunity of the quarter. If I were helping someone relocate today, I'd be paying especially close attention to Jax Beach and Nocatee, if that's kind of the price range. Jax Beach is going to offer a great mix of lifestyle and market momentum. You're right by the beach, and yet it's still accessible. And Nocatee is going to give buyers more inventory and a little breathing room without sacrificing long-term appeal. There's so many great things for people out in Nocatee. Go look it up. Water parks, all of it. So looking ahead to Q3, I don't see any dramatic changes in the horizon. For Q3, sometimes it does dip. So if I come back on and say it dipped, not a big deal. I'm watching inventory closely, but I wouldn't say this is a season where a ton of listings come out. So I don't expect it to rise that dramatically. I expect Nocatee to remain stable. Ponte Vedra's luxury market is going to stay strong, and Jacksonville Beach is going to continue to move quickly. So markets can change, anything can change in the world, but these are the trends that I'm watching right now. So thank you for watching, and I hope this does give you a clear picture of what's happening across the Northeast Florida beaches. If you'd like to know what these trends mean for your home, or you're planning a move next year, my team is so happy to help. We can hop on a Zoom, come to your house, depending on what you're doing. So again, my number is 904-822-9255, or you can visit our website. And if you found this helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to build up a base there. These reports are going to come out monthly, quarterly, and just share it with someone who might benefit. And I'll see you in the next quarter with a new and different report card. Thanks for watching.